a fallout shelter in Hollywood. It's the Tom Leykis Show.
Oh, my God.
And now, here he is, Tom Leykis.
Thank you for tuning into the Tom Leykis Show. This is where America gets together to talk about the issues you really care about. It's a different kind of a radio talk program. We're the radio talk show that is not hosted by a right-wing wacko or a convicted felon. No. I am your host. Write down our telephone number. You're going to need it. It's 1-800-5800-TOM. 1-800-5800-866. I'm going to get right back into this with polygraph examiner John Grogan. All right, we had a call from this fellow who made all kinds of allegations against you. I want to give you the opportunity to respond to any part of that you want to respond to.
Just another jealous competitor. I do more polygraphs than any other polygraph examiner.
He says you've been, what, did he say you were convicted on 26 counts?
I'm waiting for him to bring you proof.
Mm-hmm. Why did you sue this guy?
It's been thought of before. He's very jealous of my success.
But he's not just jealous of your success. He just called you out on a show in front of 4.5 million people.
Well,
and called your reputation into question here.
If I could say on air what I know about his reputation, I'd be in trouble.
Not if it's true.
Others have tried to bring forth what we know and what we suspect, and we've learned not to.
Why?
Can't say. I'm worried about getting sued like the others.
Really? All right. Well, I'd certainly like to see that proof myself.
Okie doke.
You know, because people can call this show, and as I always say, callers to talk shows, they are hiding under their desk. They are hiding behind their mom's skirt. They can call in here and say anything about anybody, but you never, ever have any way of knowing anything about what the person is saying. There's no way to check what they're saying at the moment they call in. And so I would say if that gentleman has got any evidence, he should step forward and present it to us. But I have a feeling he'd already made it clear he's not going to do that. Anyway, here's our phone calls at 1-800-5800-TOM for polygraph examiner John Grogan. This is Doug on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hey, good afternoon, Tom. How you doing?
I'm okay, Doug.
Hey, you know, what a revelation with this guy calling through. And, boy, did he speak legitimately. It didn't sound like he had any grudge left or right. He had bulletproofs on this guy.
Well, first of all, we haven't seen any evidence that anything he said was true.
No, but during his conversation, he was very stern about his statements, and the guy on your show here sounded so weak in his response, and especially since the beginning of the hour discussion you just had with him when he said, "Oh, okay, okey doke." Who uses okey doke? He's so weak, it's unbelievable.
I'll be just as stern back. I have never been convicted of any such thing. You check any criminal court in the nation or the world.
Well, this gentleman, hopefully, Tom, you're going to do the big follow-up, as you are absolutely known to do.
Well, you may have heard what he just said. He will not present the evidence to me. He claims he's going to present it in a courtroom when none of us are watching in Ventura County on Tuesday. And why Tuesday and not Monday, I don't know. But the point is, I don't see any paperwork. I don't see any evidence. I don't see anything. My email address is out there. People know where the network is, where the local radio station here is in L.A., and I'm not seeing any written evidence, anything.
Boy, you have a lot to say now that he's hung up.
Doug, you have to understand that call was taken with about a minute to even less than a minute left to go in the hour. And we had no time left to have this conversation with him.
No. At the beginning of the hour, again, Tom asked you very specific questions, and your responses were very, very low.
All right, well, you've said it 3 times, and I think that's more than enough. Thank you. Jesus. 1-800-5800-TOM. It's George on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hey, Tom, what's up, man?
Not much.
Hey, look, this is why your show is number one. Number one, man. This is a phenomenal show. I just want to say, man, you're the radio pimp. Is this guy in the studio with you right now?
Yes, he is. John Grogan.
Hey, tell you, this guy sounds like Forrest Gump, man. He has caca in his pants right now. He doesn't know what to do, man. He's a fake. He's a fake.
Okay. Again, everyone's going to decide how they feel about that, I guess. It's 1-800-5800-TOM. Our guest says he's never been convicted of any of the things he was accused of, and a caller to the show said he was. Okay? This next caller claims, and we have no way of checking because we're doing a live radio show. We do not have a staff of hundreds here to check everything out that everybody says. But she claims to work on the TV show The Moment of Truth. Let me get Marcy on here. Hello. Marcy? You busy over there, Marcy? Probably busy looking through Daily Variety for new contestants for the show. Backstage. Music Connection. Where do they find these contestants? All right, we'll go looking for her. We'll say hello here to Nicole on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hey, how are you doing?
Doing okay?
Good. I just had kind of a side comment regarding the first caller that called in. I was actually watching the show last week, and the contestant that was on there actually commented that they asked her a question, and she actually commented on how she remembered the question previously, and she was trying to remember the answer that she had answered originally. So she kind of, alluded to the fact that they asked her originally. So I think that if the show is true, not true, I don't know. But
they certainly try to leave you with the impression that these people are answering questions and the answers are coming from a polygraph. You notice how the recording they play of the woman's voice says, that answer is true. Like, the thing is, if we already know what the answer is, what is it with all this buildup?
Well, I think that's part of it is that they don't know. That's part of the game. They don't know what they answered originally. And if they're kind of second-guessing themselves, and I'm saying if the game is, in fact, like a real game, and it's not, actors and things like that, that's part of the game, is that they have to remember what they answered.
Well, make no mistake about it. The two people that got our attention, the husband and wife, the alleged husband and wife, where the woman said that she'd had sex with somebody else after marriage and that she thought she should be married to her ex-boyfriend instead of her husband. Both those people have acting resumes. They're both actively seeking work as actors.
Yeah, I mean, I never saw that show, and I don't care either way if it's real or not. I only watched last week's, and actually that show with the husband and wife is what got me to watch last week's show. So, whatever they did it okay because they got more ratings. But, yeah.
Yeah, well, if people want to watch a show that I believe to be fraudulent, they should at least know what we know about it and then watch it with all the facts.
Exactly. So, and my boyfriend asked me if you can take me out with the bong.
I'll take you out with the bong hit, dear. Here you go. Ken on the Tom Leykis Show. We're here with the polygraph examiner, John Grogan. Hello.
Tom, how you doing?
Great.
You know what? I just had a couple questions for this guy. I know you don't know. I'm in law enforcement as well. I've dealt with polygraph examiners. And the previous law enforcement official who called out this guy, he said a number of different things, and the only response your guy can give is that he's never been convicted. Is that the only response he can come back with in all the different things that were said?
No, let me answer it like this, since we had that jealous competitor call in. In the entire last 20 years, the only time I've been in criminal court is to testify for or against other people, never as a defendant. I have never been criminally charged.
You've never been charged. That's what you're saying now.
Well, he says I've been convicted. I'm not even charged.
What about all the other things, the statements that were made?
What else?
He spoke to you for about 4 minutes. He said, for example, you've never been to an accredited polygraph school.
No, he said I never attended a polygraph school. That's a lie. I'm glad to fax my graduation certificate, Tom Leykis.
The other thing he said was that you had lost your PI license because of fraud.
And that's not true also. All that I'll provide to Tom just because I respect him.
Okay, so you did lose it, but you didn't lose it because of fraud.
No, I stopped practicing in the 90s.
Okay, so and that's the extent of your response to this guy?
Correct. I have never been criminally charged in any criminal court anywhere in the world. So to say I've been convicted in criminal court of 26 counts of fraud, it's ludicrous.
Well, I think you're hanging your hat on the number is...
Okay, I've never been convicted in criminal court of 1 or 2 or any.
Nor charged of any of those.
Correct.
Because there's a difference. And
he already said that. I mean, do you have a polygraph? Are you trying to trick him into giving a different answer? You already asked it, as they would say in a court of law, asked and answered. He answered that question.
Well, I understand that part.
And he answered it fully and completely. He said he's never been accused. He's never been convicted. What more do you want? Now, again, who knows? Somebody may come up with information that I don't currently have, and it may all not be true for all I know. But he made it pretty clear that this is what he's standing on, what he just said. What more? Why are you harassing him like this?
I don't feel I'm harassing. I just feel like there were a number of points that were brought up.
Well, how many different ways can he answer the same question?
No, I mean, there were other points that were brought up.
But I mean, you keep asking the same, you keep haranguing him about whether or not he's ever been accused of crimes or convicted of crimes. How much more complete can it be when somebody says, I've never been convicted of any crimes in the last 20 years. I haven't been accused of any crimes in the last 20 years. What more do you need?
Okay, well, we can leave that.
That's pretty complete. Then he said he did not lose his PI license because of fraud, that he stopped practicing in the 90s. That's what he said.
Okay.
I mean, again, I don't know if I have no way of knowing if what the caller said is true or what the guest says is true. But the point is, he answered the question. Now, he's not hooked up to a polygraph. I have no way of knowing if John is telling the truth. But the point is, he gave you an answer, and you keep asking him to answer the same question.
I was actually asking different questions. But
what other questions? Were there any other questions that were not answered? Specifically, what questions did he not answer? Let's get these out of the way right now.
Well, actually, what would be helpful is to go back and look at the...
Oh, that might be helpful, but you're the one who called in. What are the other questions you had?
No, what would be helpful is to go back and look at...
I'm not here to be your stenographer, sir. Please. Be helpful? Why don't you go back and roll your own tape back at home and then call back when you're prepared to call in? Jesus. 1-800-5800-TOM. It's Tammy on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hi, Tom.
Hi.
I just wanted to say it's really, really sad that it has come to this, that our society immediately jumps to conclusions without even knowing all the facts. It's like accusing somebody of something and immediately taking him to court and saying that he's guilty and you don't need to go to court anymore because he's guilty because somebody called us and said he was guilty. It's absolutely ridiculous, and it's really embarrassing, and it says a lot about us.
Well, only one person showed his face in the studio today, and it wasn't Howard Schultz, and it wasn't the caller who called in and made the accusations against John Grogan. John Grogan's the one and only person who showed up in the studio. He's sitting physically next to me right here. Everybody else is either calling in or hiding.
Right.
And why do people assume that the one person who had the balls to show up is the liar?
Because it makes other people feel good about themselves. It's all of a sudden they found somebody to throw stones at. You know, it's really pathetic. And I feel if the guy had any proof whatsoever, put your money where your mouth is, okay? Just bring on the proof or shut up. And that goes for everybody else that calls and accuses this poor guy that's in your studio right now. And they're accusing him instead of, like, bringing up any other issues that they know and they have proof about.
Well, Tammy, I thank you for the call. Let's go to Edward on the Tom Leykis Show.
Hey, what's up, Tom? How you doing, man?
Doing okay.
Good, man. Hey, man, I was just listening to the way the guy called in, man, and the way he was saying those things about this dude on the air. I mean, if this is, not true at all, this guy's got a multi-million-dollar lawsuit, man, and you got to document it on the air, and you got witnesses, tons of them.
Thank you very much. And again, I'll say I have never been charged with anything like that in any criminal court in the whole world, not just the U.S. I've never been charged in a criminal court with 1 count of fraud or 2 or any.
Yeah, man. I mean, that guy. I mean, if it's bull, it's bull. I don't know what's going on. But hey, Tom, can you take me out with a bong rip, man?
I can indeed.
No cough.
All right, 1-800-5800-TOM. Let me squeeze one more in here. Adrian on the Tom Leykis show. Hello.
Tom, how's it going?
Okay.
Good. Hey, I just wanted to say a few things really quick before you go to commercial break here. I honestly think you should probably scratch the rest of your segment because this guy that you have on right now, his credibility was just blasted. Whether or not, you guys were expecting that or not, it's what happened, unfortunately. And the guy that called in, Jack, I mean, he even said his last name, said his threw these facts out there with such conviction, and such truth behind his voice.
Well, Bill Clinton did the same thing right before he got caught with Monica Lewinsky, okay?
Another thing is that this guy, I mean, I just find it ironic how you brought on this guy on your show who actually is, built a career on administering lie detector tests and trying to prove whether or not other people are lying. And now, the whole basis of the show, by one phone call, 1 4 or 5 minute phone call, has turned into questioning his credibility. And I just hope that, that you, ultimately, and I hope, and I know, know the guy you are. I know you will.
Eventually, we're going to find out what the truth really is and who told the truth here and who didn't. But what I do know is that Howard Schultz is among the missing.
Right, that's true. One more thing, Tom, before I go. This guy, he sounds like too much like Phil Hellmuth, to be honest with you. I know you probably know Phil Hellmuth and met him. He sounds a lot like Phil Hellmuth, man. We all know poker players, man. They're liars.
All right. There you go. Wow. All right. Well, John, I don't know what this accomplished for you. I'm glad you came. And, this is kind of one of those things where we just kind of have to follow up and force everybody to approve what they've said here. And then we're going to have to come back with our findings once we've had a chance to do all the research. But when I'm sitting here in the seat, it's not exactly possible for me to start going and searching Lexus and Nexus and all these things and trying to find out what really happened. So do you have some final words here you wanted to add?
We talked about he must have conviction. He was adamant. He was real adamant that I never attended a polygraph academy. So when I faxed my graduation certificate from a $5,000 polygraph academy to you guys, I guess that shows adamant doesn't mean anything.
Whatever you want to present to us in response, we will present it to the audience. We'll read what you send. We'll present it. We will call this gentleman on the phone and demand to see what proof he has, and then we will come back here and follow up. But, of course, I'm sure Howard Schultz is the happiest man on earth right now because he was on the hot seat here, and now this whole thing has devolved into two people, making allegations against each other that have nothing to do with the TV show, which is amazing, but I still think the TV show is a fraud. It's just my opinion, and I'm entitled to my opinion. So... there. Anyway, John, great meeting you. Thank you so much for being the one person who did show up here today. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, Dad.
There he goes. John Grogan, everybody. Wide Open Telephones continues.
Tom Leykis. 1-800-5800-TOM. 1-800-5800-866.
In the industry I'm working in, I've been in it 2 years. I've already been promoted to the top of the level of where I can be after 2 years because I put that hard work in, and I didn't pay for everything. You know what I mean? I did it the way, the Tom Leykis way, the man way.
It's the Tom Leykis Show.
The Tom Leykis Show. 1-800-5800-TOM. I feel dirty. I'm picking the dust off me right now. God.
Ever since we started talking about this damn moment of truth, I've felt disgustingly dirty myself.
But I have felt that way about every...
this morning. It's just something about this whole damn thing that's, you know, and you know what it made me think of? I remember hearing a story about some guy that said he slept with Paris Hilton, and as soon as he kicked her ass out the door, he ran to his under his kitchen sink and grabbed the first thing he could, which was like Tilex, and started spraying his junk. That's the way I feel. I feel like I spray my junk right now.
Yeah. But isn't this the same feeling we had dealing with other Fox reality shows?
Exactly the same thing.
Mainly celebrity boxing. When somebody from Mike Darnell's department over there at Fox, he's the guy in charge of reality programming, was calling over here trying to spread disinformation on the air about celebrity boxing. And then later, that show they did called Who's Your Daddy?
Correct.
You remember that show? Yes. And it turned out the chick was on Who's Your Daddy, was some out-of-work actress.
It follows them around.
Right. I mean, every show's done the same way. They cast these things like, you know, like they cast any scripted programs. So it's like casting CSI. They cast it with out-of-work actors, and then you just know somebody's writing a script for this stuff.
Well, this polygraph thing is uncertain to begin with. And then you throw in the fact that you can actually be an examiner here in California without, just by saying you're an examiner. You don't need to go to a school. You don't need to have a certificate.
Right.
The whole thing's bizarre.
Well, I know.
But John says he's faxing over that certificate. He graduated, and he's going to send it over.
I'm waiting to see it. I'll wait to see that. And I'm waiting for Jack Tremarco to send me the 26 convictions. I want to see the paperwork on that or a link. And if Jack Tremarco has that information, I hope he's emailing it to Tom at blowmeuptom.com right now, because I will read every word of it. I will go through all the legal documents. I will see what it says, and then I will report back. But I got questions about this whole profession, frankly.
I don't really think we need to talk about this moment of truth ever again. It's dead to me. I hope it dies a big douchey death.
Yeah, until they have some other sleazy reality show on Fox.
Yeah, we've given these guys too much already, and now we've created something that won't die. Now we got Jack the FBI guy. After John the polygraph guy. And Dean's in there jumping up and down. Art's in here. He's hiding under the board. He was so freaked out by the whole thing.
Yeah, Art was creeped out. Art found a very uncomfortable moment there. Now Art's going on the air. That's how uncomfortable he was. Now Art's
This was so goddamn uncomfortable to me. I was leaning... I have 3 computer screens in front of me. I was leaning behind them because you could touch the goddamn, or you could cut the goddamn tension in here with a knife.
Well, yeah.
I mean, it was, and I don't.
Well, we have had many creepy moments on this program. You're new here. Over the years, we've had many moments like that.
But it's like you said during the break that something was just off about the entire thing. The vibe in the room here.
When you feel like it's wrong, that's when it's the best.
Well, that's great radio. And This is the best radio I've ever heard.
It's a train wreck, and you know we're in the middle of afternoon drive in Southern California and other places, and you know people are stopping to hear this train wreck we've created.
Oh, it's great.
You're the conductor.
I'm the conductor. Oh, I'm the engineer. What, are you kidding me? I'm driving the locomotive.
Tommy Train.
I'm heading right for the brick wall, baby. I'm the Metrolink train, and there's the guy trying to beat the
Art couldn't
beat the
even
signal.
Art couldn't even hide his uncomfortableness.
I'm sweating right now. I'm literally sweating.
Art wanted to leave the room, but he had to press the buttons.
Oh my God, that was fantastic.
Yeah,
that was good.
I love when it gets like that.
Jack the FBI guy.
I don't flinch. I love those moments. I live for that stuff.
Wow.
I live for that stuff.
Boy.
Wait, what was amazing, I don't know whether I completely believe everything John had to say, because, if it were me, me, I'm one of the most litigious people on earth. I never actually get to trial with anybody, but people know that I'm a crazy MFer and that I will go balls to the wall and sue somebody who besmirches my good name. If somebody called in and said that about me, and I knew their first and last name like we knew about this guy, he'd be getting paper Monday morning from my attorney.
Well, Jack just didn't seem, John rather, didn't just seem like a very aggressive guy. In fact, he seemed downright timid, though, I mean, as far as being on the air. I mean, I think
understand that. But the thing is, no matter how timid he was, off the air, I would be preparing my lawsuit. Even if on the air I was a little, soft-spoken, off the air I would make sure that I protect my good name. I mean, he's got a small business. He's got a reputation. He's on in front of millions of people. It would be worth it to him to protect his good name. So when somebody just sits back and goes, okay, well, if you say so, I don't know. Now I don't know what to think.
The polygraph world is dog eat dog, man. It's just, they just go at each other.
But what was really amazing, this is what I always say about you. Anybody can call a radio show and say anything. Anybody can call a radio show and say anything. And I warn people about this because people always call in claiming to know, I don't know, Kirstie. I know Kirstie Alley and I know what she eats. I know Paris Hilton. I was at her house. People are calling and saying stuff like this all the time. And I say, please, these are anonymous callers to the show. Anybody can call up and say anything. So this one person calls in and makes this comment, and the audience turned on our guest here in the studio like on a dime.
The entire audience.
And pounced on
Except for one chick who was like, I really feel sorry for her.
I mean, the real truth is we don't know who's telling the truth, but the audience immediately assumed that the caller was telling the truth, and the guy here whose face is in front of us, he showed up. He's physically sitting here. He's the liar, and the guy calling in from his office in Beverly Hills, he's the truth teller. We actually don't know who the truth teller is. I'm not saying one is right or the other is right. I'm just saying, why would everybody assume the guy who called in is the one telling the truth, and the guy sitting here is a big liar? I don't get it.
It's going nicely up until that point. We're all sitting here pigging out on this Tommy's chili and everything. Nobody's eating a thing in like 45 minutes. I can't stomach it right now. It's like it just felt.
And I might say I ate nothing all day waiting for those Tommy's burgers to come in here. That was my only meal of the day, and I was looking forward to it. And I thought I would just spend the rest of the day sucking down chili out of this container here, farting my life away, and just having a great afternoon. And then this had to happen.
I'm going to do my best this weekend to try to put together the Battle of Jack and John here in the studio at some point, face to face. Art might have to take that day off, but I'd like to make that happen.
Yes, we can put that on pay-per-view.
Yes.
The battle of the polygraph examiners.
We should hook them both up and have yet another polygraph guy in here.
Let's get the guy who does Moment of Truth to hook them up. Who's that guy?
Oh, man. He's certified.
Or certifiable. Unbelievable. All right. Well, you've heard another moment in our checkered history here on the Tom Leykis Show. It's wide open telephones on this Friday, and more of your telephone calls are coming up.
Tom Leykis. 1-800-5800-TOM.
All women want to do is break your heart and break your wallet, so hit it and quit it.
Hit it and quit it.
It's the Tom Leykis Show.
From Hollywood, it's the Tom Leykis Show at 1-800-5800-TOM. That's our telephone number. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for being part of our program. We appreciate it. All right. More of your telephone calls, wide open telephones. Here comes David on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello. David.
Tom, I got to call you out. You're backpedaling, bro.
On what?
Well, before Super Tuesday, you called out on the election that there's no way that this country would want to elect an African-American president, that this country's racist, that there's no way that that's possible. And after the past so-called Super Tuesday #2, you're backpedaling. You're saying all of a sudden that the country, there's no way that this country would elect a woman. You know, because you're seeing that the numbers are flipping around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're backpedaling, bro. I have to call you out on that.
Well, again, I'm not backpedaling. I think that right now there are more changes in what's going on in this country in terms of politics, including people's interest in politics, that I've seen in my entire life.
Yeah, well, you know what? This is what I have to say, is that before Super Tuesday, you were saying that, yeah, there's no way that this country would elect an African-American because this country's racist. Then after Super Tuesday, after he went on a streak and started winning all these states, all of a sudden, you go back and you say, oh, there's no way the country will elect a woman,
No, I never said there's no way the country will elect a woman. I did say that, and quote me exactly, and then comment on what I actually said. What I actually said was that I felt that this country was so against electing a woman, they'd even elect a black guy. And you know what? We don't know yet that that's not true.
That's what you said after, Tom. See, I'm talking about before Super Tuesday.
But I'm always, you have to understand, my opinion is fluid. You have to understand that my opinion is based on what's happening today. It's not based on what happened again, my opinion is not based on what happened 3 weeks ago. That's not backpedaling.
Yeah, it is.
If I tell you it's going to be a sunny day today, and I walk outside and there are raindrops, I'm not going to keep going on the air saying it's a sunny day today. It's that simple. That's not backpedaling. Your opinion changes according to the facts of the case, according to what's going on today, not what's going on 3 weeks ago. Thank you so much for that. Here's Brian on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hey, Tom.
Hey.
Hey, I just want to say, I've been listening to your show for about 5 years. I put on the radio today just to listen, just driving home. And at first I was just like, that moment of truth stuff was really interesting, hearing the guy comment, you talking about it. But then when that guy called up, it turned from just interesting to, I think, the best Tom Leykis I've ever heard.
Thank you for that.
Oh, I thought it was just amazing. Everything that happened, just hearing it, it's just like you could feel the tension as you guys are talking about.
Well, unlike those phony reality shows on TV, this is reality. You know what I'm saying? We don't hire actors to call in here. We don't pre-screen and audition people and then have them call in a week later. This is all real stuff that happens here. And I'm just amazed at the low level people set the bar at for reality and what they're willing to accept on these TV shows. This show is a real reality show.
Oh, totally, man. It was just amazing. And like you said, everyone turned on him, and it was like, of course. The guy wasn't defending himself at all. I mean, what did he say? The dye in your hair was seeping into his brain or something? It's like, dude, he just called you out in front of millions of people saying that you're
a fraud. And by the way, as I said, if it were me and somebody did that, if somebody called me on the phone now and said, you've been convicted 26 times, I not only would jump down their throat on the air, Monday morning they would have legal documents waiting at their front door.
Oh, no doubt, man. No doubt at all.
I mean, I'm vicious about that. I protect my reputation with my life.
Yeah, of course.
I wouldn't sit back on, well, whatever.
I know, really. Well, whatever. I mean, that's just when it was just, like, amazing. And then everyone's calling him out, and he wasn't saying anything. Like, oh, I have information about him, but I can't present it. It was like, dude, I'm sorry, but I think he's totally full of crap. I think Jack is probably speaking totally the truth,
Well, we're going to find out. But I want to see the evidence that there were 26 convictions. I want to see it.
Man, I'm sure there were.
Well, I'd like to see it. And Jack can send that right over here, and I will be happy to read it to everybody on the air. And then to give him a big fat plug and to thank him for calling in and setting everything straight. But, he did not offer to send that over here. He talked about going to some courtroom in Ventura County.
Yeah.
And the point is that if that is public record, I think he should send it to us so that we don't have to be left here hanging.
No, totally. And can't wait to hear the follow-up, man. Well, thanks a lot, Tom. Really great talking to you. Can you take me out with the bong hits?
Here you go, Brian. Josh on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hey, Tom. How's it going?
Great.
Hey, listen, I want to agree with that one caller that just said you were backpedaling. I do remember you saying that there's no way that America would vote for a black president. And
first of all, that's not what I said. And I'm going to tell you what I said because I've been very clear about it. I said that a black president could win if they were a Republican. I said Colin Powell could be president, for example. I said that Condoleezza Rice could be president. I said there was no way that a Democrat who's a black could be president. And by the way, there's never even been a legitimate candidate who's black.
Well, I do remember you saying about Barack Obama, there's no way he could win. And now that
he hasn't won yet. But wait a minute, he hasn't won.
No, I know, but it's closer now that he's going to win. Hillary's definitely not going to win. It's done.
No, but she just won Texas and Ohio. How could you be so sure?
It's you could see it. She's out of it. But you just gave.
Well, you just said you could see it. She's out of it. She just won 2 of the biggest states there are.
But I still know she's not going to win.
And she won California and other big states.
No, but that's my opinion. And you had said
But here's on the one hand, you're criticizing me for giving an opinion that something definitely wouldn't happen. Then you're doing the exact same thing.
Well, but I'm saying...
But you're right and I'm wrong? All right, that's enough. 1-800-5800-TOM. Eva on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hi, I'm calling about that Moment of Truth show. There was a contestant on there. There's actually a host on the Food Network of a show called The Hungry Detective. So he's an actor.
Well, I don't know if that makes him an actor. Makes him a broadcasting... Well, he's on the Food Network. I was going to say broadcasting professional. Make him a broadcasting wannabe.
Yeah, he's in the TV business, so I don't know. I think that makes the show fraudulent.
I don't know if it makes it fraudulent, but I do believe that when everybody who's on the show is an actor or a TV personality, and there's no just everyday people on the program, it makes me suspicious.
Right. He's not an everyday person. That's what I'm saying.
That's right.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate the call. Tom on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hey, Tom. How's it going?
Going okay.
Hey, man, I was thinking that the producer guy... Oh, sorry for the dog, man. I'll move. The producer guy that you're supposed to have on today that never showed up.
Right, Howard Schultz.
Yeah. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if he put both guys up to it to take the emphasis off of him. I mean, it's a pretty good move on his part. He's like, hey, this show's going to be about me, and maybe he doesn't want to be on because, that reality show on Fox is a big crock anyway. So he has this guy call in and pretend to be the FBI dude, and then, yak about all this stuff, create all that weirdness on your show, 25 minutes ago or whatever it was. And, hey, we're talking about that now. We forgot all about
the first thing I said was Howard Schultz has to feel like the luckiest guy on earth because the focus has now been taken off him and his show, which I consider to be phony.
I agree with you.
Just an opinion.
Come again?
They got more attorneys than we got.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring it back on Howard because it's kind of nuts that it's gone so crazy.
I agree, but I still say that Howard Schultz should have been down here today. Even if he came down and refused to take the test and said face-to-face with the guy why he wouldn't take it, even that would have been an improvement over what he did.
Well, that's what happens when you work for Fox.
You didn't give him that option, Gary? Did he offer to come down and not take the test?
No.
He did not.
Yeah.
No, I told him if he wasn't taking the test, I wasn't interested.
So
I said he can make his case for why he thinks the test might not be valid or against John's credentials, whatever he wanted to do. But he said that there's no way he's taking the test if the guy isn't certified. And I said, okay, fine. Bye.
Certified by the organization that themselves say that his show is fake. Yeah.
Correct, yeah.
Right.
Pretty intense, huh?
It's very intense. 1-800-5800-TOM. That's our telephone number. Here is Brandon on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Aloha, Tom.
Aloha.
All right, I just want to chime in on these polygraph tests. From experience, these things are crap. I was in the military for a while, got out, had a couple government jobs where I was given polygraphs and passed with flying colors, and then the last job, great job, good paying government job. I go in there, far simpler questions than I'd ever got before, and I failed. Didn't get the job after I'd already gotten the conditional job offer. It was just pending on this polygraph. So I take this polygraph, and they say I failed. And, I mean, stuff that I'd be the first one to admit if I was lying. But these were everyday questions. Say I lied, never got the job, never heard again. And that was it.
Yeah, well, I do think there's a certain amount of voodoo in this, no matter who's doing the polygraph test.
Oh, definitely.
I know certainly I wouldn't take a polygraph test at work, I'll tell you that.
No, I learned my lesson. He even told me, he said he could tell I was getting ready to lie because when they start off by asking you your name, to get a baseline, he said. And he said he could tell from that I was getting ready to lie, which is BS. I went in there open, and, said I was deceptive from the start. Didn't
Jesus.
get the job.
Outrageous.
Outrageous. Well,
Thank you. We're out of time. Appreciate the call. Our email address is my name. Why do I think we're going to get flooded with email this weekend? It's blowmeuptom.com. It's Tom at blowmeuptom.com, or our web address is blowmeuptom.com. That's where you hear the show streaming live, baby.
The Tom Leykis Show.